Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Hi, guys. Come on, you have to have some energy. It's the last presentation. It's the last thing. Let's get it right. All right. So, hi, guys. So, we're the Diabeatles, and no, there will be no music. I'm Paul Kweyu. I am from Kenya, and I graduate with a bachelor's in exactly 1 month. So, in business information technology. The rest can introduce themselves.
I'm Patrick from Tanzania, background in computer engineering and IT.
I'm Therese from Stockholm. I have a background in dental therapy.
I'm Ludvig, I'm from Sweden, and I have a background in architecture.
I'm Dana, I'm from Romania, and I have a background in civil psychology. And I'm Sophie from Dovberg, and I have a background in sociology.
Alrighty. So, the challenge. So we are working with a diabetes centrum or Centrum for Diabetes in Stockholm, and there are specialized units that deal specifically with people with type 1 diabetes and special cases of type 2 diabetes. And they gave us a challenge. Before we get to the challenge, let's just give you a background for those of you who weren't here last time. So when it comes to diabetes and Stockholm, there seems to be a rising trend in diabetes in Stockholm. They say about 10% of the population could be having diabetes right now. So we could be having, let's say Sweden has 10 million people, I believe. You could be having close to 1 million people with it. So it's not bad. It's a rising trend, and that's very dangerous because diabetes type 2 is it goes underground. Like you don't notice it's happening until it's happened. And it can get so much worse than you think so. You could also lose a foot. I believe that was like something we had really emphasized on before. So our challenge was how might we improve the life of patients with diabetes and empower them to make better care of their health. So currently, this is how it is. You have a bad case of diabetes type 2, a bad case, it's not a cold. You have like really bad type 2 diabetes, then you go to your GP, you get referred to a specialist, you're given a choice of going to diabetes school, and then 2 months later you might get a letter that calls you to go to the diabetes school. So at Diabetes Centrum, they're having a problem. People are not coming for the school. That's the biggest problem. People are not coming for the school. So we are trying to figure out how we can either, 1, improve the school, or 2, find a way to help people to better manage their healthcare and all those things. So buckle up as we head on to the right on how things actually went.
When it comes to Diabetes Centrum, we have made a stakeholder map which has this raindrop structure to it. So the direct stakeholders are, for example, patients and the healthcare system as the staff and so on. And then you have the indirectly stakeholders, which could be a patient's friend or family member and employer and so on. And to emphasize these stakeholders, we have approached them with interviews, with surveys, questionnaires, and observations.
Yes, so during the emphasizing phase, we wanted to really deep dive and get an understanding of what works, what doesn't, how does it, everything. So the insights that we've got through this is that there's a lot of active engagement needed from the patients, which could have an effect on the motivation, and also that there's like a time aspect to the motivation as well. We also found out that community and meeting patients where they are is a very good factor and something that works very well. So the environment is an important thing to look at. We also found out that there are emotional factors because when you get this diagnosis, there are emotions bound to it. With the questionnaire where we included these emotions, and we found out that there's shame, there is denial, and different factors, and also that there is a stigma, which when you get the knowledge, the patients that receive it will have these emotions. And that is important to take into account. And communication is important between the different, for example, Vårdcentralen and Diabetes Centrum, and for everyone to be in communication. And also the importance of individualized care. So don't generalize, because everything is very individual. What looks in one way in another person looks another in another. So it's very individualized, and we all have different bodies, we all have different circumstances, situations, and we all are different, and it needs to be applied individually. So we created 3 personas, and we used them very much in order for us to be more understanding of like, how does this work for Ragnar, which is a patient? How does this work for Sarah, which is a healthcare worker? So we use these personas to really get into the shoes of feeling the feelings of how does it feel to be in this journey. And also other insights are that, like Paul mentioned, type 2 diabetes is often invisible. This is not something that you maybe feel, but years down the line you could have cardiovascular diseases, and this can be changed through lifestyle changes. So it is something that it's invisible and that has an effect. Motivation is hard without visible symptoms, which I mentioned, and one-size-fits-all education does not tailor the patients and healthcare providers' need. So, yeah.
Now, as Paul mentioned at the start, that we got the initial challenge that how might we improve the lives of patients with diabetes and empower them to take care of themselves. Then after doing the insights and emphasizing, we got to insights and we got to revise our way of looking into the problem, which is as stated that how might we empower healthcare providers and patients with better insights about personal needs for them to better manage diabetes. So the concept shifted from looking into how the patients will take care of themselves into both sides, the caretakers and the patients together, working together into making their lives better.
Okay, so our 5 original concepts range from questionnaire, functioning as a knowledge evaluation, giving the healthcare provider a better insight of their patients. And we have the Diabeatles, that was a support platform. The sharing is caring, an interactive center where patients can come together to support each other. Peggy, wearing a sensor for 2 weeks using the learning by doing methodology, and the exclusive product, a creation giving the patient a feeling of being special and selected for the course focusing on the written language.
Yeah, so I'll just come back to show you guys how we came up with our concept selection method. I know most of the other groups didn't do this, but we wanted to kind of bring you into the madness that occurs here in Openlab. so this is a decision matrix where you use weights and you kind of put them all in a numbers form. You use numbers to come up with the statistics to find out which one you like and which one you don't like. So luckily, you'll notice that some of the things we ended up choosing actually didn't do too well in this, but the one we didn't really like that much was this one, and it got removed due to this. I'm not going to take you into like everything we do, but just showing you a bit of the madness. Next. The pros and cons list. Of course, this was done through a larger analysis than just saying good, bad, good, bad. And so we realized that sharing is caring. This kind of already exists in the Diabetes Association. This isn't the job of the Diabetes Center. That type of grouping already exists in Stockholm, and it's not something that's novel or in line with this. An exclusive product sounds really nice if you're marketing or you're doing business, but the healthcare system is not about business, it's about protecting people and making sure people are getting good healthcare. So that led us to the next step, which is a SWOT analysis. So with a SWOT analysis, which is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, we realized that the Let's Test Not Guess and Peggy seem to share strengths. They have individualized data-driven healthcare in terms of you test somebody, you see some values of what they know and what they don't know. And so the patient knows what they do and they don't know, and so does the healthcare provider. Whereas the Peggy, which uses a CGM to monitor somebody's healthcare, like their blood levels, is showing you actual numbers of what's going on in your body as it's happening. So they share strengths, and they both have opportunities, and of course there are threats that exist. And so we move on to the next part,
which is our final concept that started the whole story back in the winter of 2025 and finished 5 days ago. Not the concept of choosing, but the winter in Sweden, and it just went 5 days ago. Our final concept was a person-centered journey, and we call it Vivalu. The phrase was inspired by prolonged life, because what we wanted for the patient and the healthcare is coming together but in a very specific and personalized way. We didn't build a concept, but it is a very guided experience that we were trying to put together. So we made this 3-step Vivalu flow. The first one is the evaluation, observe and apply, because what we had in our minds was, in each relationship we want to be seen. In personal relationship we want to feel we are the one. In the friendship area we want to feel as the first choice for somebody. Even in the health relationship we want to feel including, seen. So first of all, we want the healthcare to know what we know as a patient. So the test is the first step. Evaluate. Test, not guess, what the patient knows. First, after the evaluation goes the PEG. Because when we talk about motivation in long term or in a chronic disease, not seeing what happens inside your body, because diabetes doesn't give you any symptoms that you can easily see, doesn't help you a lot in motivating you, changing your lifestyles. And using this PEG not only gives you feedback, but in real lifetime feedback. After the observation part, the patient get together with others, sharing the same experience, sharing the same disease, and learning from each other. The supporting part, the support of the group, it's very important when you feel you cannot handle, or in the process of learning from others. After receiving the feedback from the group, you get real-time feedback, not only from the PEG, but from the test that you've been evaluated at the beginning. So you get tailored courses, not 2 days, but maybe 2 hours, but exactly what are based on your gaps. So this is the third part of our 3-step Vivalu. Why does it work? The main thing was to see how people get motivated in long term, because we are talking about a chronic disease. So we are talking about adapting the system to the person, not vice versa. Provides instant feedbacks and insight, and it is quite easy to be implemented and to understand. So feedback, group support, and tailored courses that will fill up your gaps.
Okay, so prototype and test. So during the prototype test phase, we created a storyboard with our chosen concept. The storyboard was tested on stakeholder groups like patients, healthcare provider, and randomly chosen people like the general public, receiving their feedback. Overall, the feedback was very positive, and the validation for the group that the chosen concept was implementable and a good solution. We also did an evaluation of our own, having a team member wearing the PEG. That is a part of our solution concept, learning by doing methodology. So Ludvig will share his experience of that.
So I got on hold of this glucose monitor sensor, and in the beginning I was more like curious how my level are. And the first day and the second day, I had no the first day and the second day I was really shocked that I could come up in this high levels. The first day I thought it was like a sensor error, but the second day was saying the same, and it was going up and down and very volatile. So I was thinking, okay, so maybe it's something with my lifestyle, maybe something with my habits. So I, with these insights, I try to adapt my days, and already within the 5th day I could see difference in my glucose levels in my blood. So here you can see that I have a much more stable sleep, and it's not going over the threshold anymore. So based on the insights that I had from the first days, I could really learn by doing throughout the day.
Now, cap it up. Long boring presentation. We come up with the phrase: patients don't just need to know; they need to connect, understand, and act. Bringing together the two sides, the patients and the caregivers together, they need to connect, understand, and then act to put their lives together. Thank you.